So, Cities Skylines 2 just got something new, a free Netherlands asset pack, commissioned by Paradox and built by some of the best community creators. And today, we're going to see what it has to offer. But here's the thing, Sunny Isle is a hilly coastal city. It wasn't exactly designed for Dutch row homes, canals, or flat country planning. So the real question is, can these assets actually blend into a city like this, or will they just feel out of place? This isn't going to be a showcase of every building. Instead, we'll explore the menus, share some of my first impressions, and try a few pieces where they make sense, whether that's replacing services, adding a new home, or placing something decorative that adds to the city's story. It's about discovery, not a checklist, what fits in and what doesn't, and what just might become a part of Sunny Isle's future. Hi everyone, welcome back to Cities Skylines 2, and we've got a special preview of the Netherlands asset pack. So I've got access to this test version, so what we see in the game may be a little bit different to what gets released on the day. So we don't have any images to have a look at just yet. We'll jump into a game and have a look at the assets shortly, and this will be the first time I'm seeing most of the assets, so it is my first impressions. As I've tried to kind of shelter myself from spoiling the surprise too much. But let's just get into this. So the asset pack brings the spirit of the Netherlands and highlights the beauty of Dutch architecture and urban style. And this has been created not by Colossal Order, but the community modders, Feinbold, Gies, Groenie, Revo. So this is directly created by people that play the game, which is super exciting. So let's have a look at this. It's going to include several service buildings. That's very vague. So we'll have to see if we can find them all. And then we've got a whole bunch of zoning from low density gable roof, low density gambrel roof housing, which is pretty interesting. I don't know the difference between the different roof types. So we'll have to have a look. And we've got medium density row homes, and some low rent housing. Nice. We always like to see the low rent housing. Those French ones have been a delight to use so far. And then we get some extra props as well, which is pretty good. Okay, so let's jump into the save game and have a look at what we've got. We're currently having a look at the major highway viaduct that runs across the valley of the backside of the city. And last time we built this massive gyratory, which does appear to be holding up quite well. I do think it needs a little bit more refinement because we do get some backups, especially during rush hour, but it's doing okay. And I just love the fact that we have sometimes up to 5 lanes of traffic in use here, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so let's have a look at what this new asset pack delivers. So it said that it has service buildings. We'll go through each menu to see if we can find these. Now, I don't think it comes with any service buildings for roads because we've already got the road maintenance depot. Let's have a look at the power station. So yes, we've got a Netherlands pack icon up at the top. We're in the power menu and we get given the Netherlands substation. So this is a 1920s style substation that allows you to connect overground or underground cables in urban zones. And this looks fantastic. Pretty interesting stuff. It's very minimal in design, but it also has a little bit of decoration. So you have these little tower section, this little overhang on the doors. It's very neat looking. I quite like that. Let's see if we can find a spot to put this. Is that showing the right time? It is showing the right time. Let's have a look. Can you see the clock moving? I'll just speed it up a little bit. That's incredible. And what does it say? Chirp Dane, Switzerland. I love that little detail. Okay, yeah, let's find a spot for this. Having a look at the whole city, we don't really have that many transformers within the urban area. They're mostly on the edges of the city or even out in the countryside. So it's definitely worth putting something, maybe something more central. And this part of town has always been fairly industrial. So perhaps we find a nice spot down here. We've got the park here, which has a bit of green space on this side, which I imagine could be a good spot for this. Let's snap it back to the road and see if we can get this to sit nicely. And maybe this is a little bit of an eyesore, but I think it could work here. Yeah, I quite like that. And we'll have to remove the hedge from the front. And we'll connect a little path by the side here, since we've got some access at the building, and I think it would be quite good to continue that access down to this path. And also it will create an area here where maybe a car could drive over, since we've got a car blocking the way at the moment. So we'll just bring that up there and connect it into the front of this gazebo here. So we might lose that bush and that tree, but I think that's okay. And that connects up nicely to that back exit. And to be honest, I don't think we need to do anything else with this. Perhaps just a couple of benches at the back, just to make this area feel a little bit more human, a little bit more friendly, and a little bin as well, just so that people have somewhere to put their rubbish. Yeah, that looks good. And the fact that it's got a little clock and it's on this road with the parking, it will help people know when to bring their or come back to the car, so they don't get a parking fine or something like that. But yeah, that is hidden away quite nicely. We do need to connect it to a main power cable though, so let's grab the power line. And where is our closest high voltage connection? It's all the way out there, isn't it? Near the other transformer. So what we can do is let's follow the main roads and take this all the way out to the countryside. And that connects into there quite nicely, underground. It's not the cleanest connection. We do have some odd shapes through here, which I'm sure we could have gone straight across. Actually, yeah, let's just go straight across this field. I don't think we need to go around that bend. That's a little bit silly, I think. And we'll remove this little curve here. And we'll have to remember that's there. If we want to build something there in the future, we don't want to really be putting any buildings on top of it. And yeah, that goes all the way through the city down to the little substation. I'm sure if we show our electricity overview, we can start to see. Let's have a look. Have we got any extensions on this? So it does have a fiber optics box, which provides high-speed internet. Wow, that's pretty cool. So is that a physical item? Okay, so that goes on at the back where we put those benches. So let's pop that on, and then those benches were kind of frivolous anyway. I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, let's see what else we can find in the service menu then. Okay, we're just having a quick look at the telecom coverage. I originally had a big telecom tower using one of StarQ's service blocks right in the middle of the city. However, that was a little bit overpowered, so I did remove it. So with the addition of the substation, which is kicking out, I think around about 10,000 gigabytes, the whole city is looking pretty good, well served. And if we compare that to some of the other service providers, so a regular radio mass will pump out around about 3 gigabytes, but I think once you upgrade that, we've got a regular one here, that will eventually send out, let's have a look, bandwidth increase 4,500 altogether. And next up we've got the Japan, which is 5,000, then we've got the server farm, which is 30,000, and the telecom tower, which is 20,000. So the substation is about half as powerful as the regular large telecom tower, which is good to know. It's very discreet and looks quite good in an urban area. You can't see it. Anyway, it's been a day since I placed that down because I had to cut that recording session short, and I did have a few spoilers. So in the road menu, you'll see that we've got an NL Netherlands pack filter in here, and we have 3 new parking garages. Okay, so let's just use this empty bit of land here and we'll have a quick look at these. I think we've got enough money to put a few of these down to have a look at. So they come in 3 different sizes. They all seem to be around about the same width, but from the front you wouldn't even suspect that there's a parking garage back there, would you? Which is brilliant. This is going to be a very interesting asset to put in the build, and I wonder if people actually live in these flats at the top. I'm not sure if we can see that. Regardless, it's still pretty cool to have that facade, and so let's see if we can find a spot to put this. Okay, so we're in Reuben, and I think I found the perfect spot to place this car park. So throughout the build, I've got a few of these parking lots that extend the width of the block itself. And if we could cover up the front of this with a building, we've already got a nice range of facades along here, and this may make the area just feel a little bit more comfortable. So at the moment, this holds 40 vehicles. And let's remove that. Let's jump into the parking menu, and I think I'm just going to put the small one down for now, because the larger one leaves just a single tile wide gap at the back, and the back of this asset doesn't really have any decoration, and there's no buildings that would really fit that spot. So we'll go for the small for now, and if we click on this, this has 61 parked vehicles, or the 61 spaces for parked vehicles, and it's using a much smaller footprint than what that surface parking lot was doing, and it looks pretty good. I like it. And next to this building, which is a similar brick color, it kind of fits in nicely. You wouldn't even know that there's a parking spot down there. Now, did I place this in front of a bus stop? No, I didn't. That's good. Okay, so we can start to see a few cars already using it. And let's put up the price for this, because it is in a prime downtown area. We don't really want anyone using it unless they absolutely need to. We'll put it for 40. I think that'd be quite nice. And we do have some recolor options. I'm not sure if they do anything at all. Let's just test this out. Oh, it does. So we can change the color of the bricks. You can make it a little bit white. You can change the hue. So you could go for a nice blue color. And that's quite nice though. I like that. I'm not going to play around with that any further, not without messing it up further. And then at the back here, we've got a car park that we can move. And then we've got a little space here, which I think is around about 4x3. And we do have some new Netherlands zoning assets. So we got the low density gambrel and gable roofs. I wonder, do we have NL medium yet? We've got the row homes. I'm not sure if we've got anything else. Okay, so we do have some mixed use. Oh no, this is the low rent, and I think that's it. It's just the residential. So let's go ahead and we'll put in some interesting looking NL medium density here, since we've got quite a lot of demand for homes. So it's only put in a 2x3, so it doesn't really use up the space very well. Let's see if we can use the row homes instead. I really want to maximize the land use through here. Sorry about that. Okay, so we do get 3 deep houses, and wow, don't these look so nice? This is really nice. So typically when you've got these row homes, they just have one door, and it just looks like maybe you've got 5-6 apartments in there, but these actually look like individual homes. You've got 2 front doors there, and it looks like they come in different sizes. So these are more like the regular Dutch homes, regular row homes, sorry, with the 1 tile width buildings, and I'm loving the variety. I love the colors. And if you zoom out, you wouldn't even suspect that we've got some custom zoning right in the heart of the city, where we've used mostly vanilla stuff so far. And yes, we do have that gap at the back, but I guess we could just fill that out with a few trees, eh? There we go. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, let's have a look at what else we've got going on in this pack. So let's go into the water menu, and we do have the new water tower. Wow, so this is a tiny water tower in comparison to the French one, at least. I wonder where will be a good spot. We don't want to use this anywhere where it's polluted, I don't think. Okay, so we're visiting the seaside town of Clipstrand for this water tower. And I think this little wooded area next to the school is a really nice spot. Let's double check to see if there's any ground pollution. I don't think so. So we've got some air pollution heading towards the beach. There's not really that much ground pollution. There's a little bit coming from the industrial area over there, but I think this spot is just fine. So we'll just plop that in and we'll have a closer look. And yeah, I think this really fits this area nicely, since this is more of an older community, an older city. And that looks really nice. That's definitely a landmark. And I can imagine that the company that owns this water tower owns this wooded area here. So it's always had a little bit of a closed territory where people haven't really been able to access it. And therefore the trees have all grown quite mature around it. Okay, let's have a look to see if this has any upgrades. I doubt it does. Yeah, we don't have any upgrades here, but we do need to connect it to a water pipe, and we can just use the regular water pipe. We don't need to use the combined one. And we'll connect this up to this little footpath here. And I don't believe that needs a road connection. No, so you could have that in a really nice prominent area with no road connection, and you could build a park around it. You could use it for a clock tower, a bell tower. It could be a really interesting asset to use for other purposes. Almost looks like an observation or a, what do you call it, an astrological kind of telescope building with that little dome at the top. If you use the static ploppable version and lower it down, you could create something really interesting with this. Now, I have noticed there is a little bit of a footpath there, so let's make sure that we connect it up. We've got the footpath that runs alongside of the school, which holds the water pipe. So I'm just going to turn off some of this snapping and connect this in, and maybe we'll create a little shortcut from the roundabout. There we go, lovely little shortcut. And let's have a zoom in on that door. Wow, look at the detail on that door. It's got this very subtle stonework decoration around the edge. It's really nicely done. You really do need to zoom into some of these assets to appreciate the design. Very interesting. Okay, let's see what else we can find in this pack, because I'm pretty excited so far with what we've discovered. So let's jump into medical. We do have a couple of things. We've got the small medical clinic, which is intended to serve suburban areas. Interesting. And it even has a walking area and a vehicle bay for ambulances. Then we got the hospital. So this one is designed with Dutch architectural heritage in mind, and it provides emergency services to the community, and it includes an extension with a hospital wing and a cardiology annex for specialized treatment. Okay, so these are going to be really useful if you're building different sized cities across your map. Whether you've got something small, you could use the small medical clinic like this one, or if you're starting to build, I'd say maybe like a medium town or maybe a large neighborhood, this one would be really useful. Let's have a closer look at these. So this could work in any city, to be honest. Like, this has global appeal. I don't think this to me says the Netherlands. I'm sure that you will see this architecture everywhere. But this one's interesting. This one reminds me of the UK, was it the mid-rise or was it the low-rent apartments? It really has that style with all the balconies. It's mid-century style with these long vertical stairwells, flat roof mixed with a little bit of that terracotta roof, which you do see quite a lot in the Netherlands. representing kind of like the past. It's also a very wet country, very similar to the UK, so they have to handle the rain. And this does come with some upgrades. So we got, wow, look at that. I didn't even expect that, because usually the ground is reserved. Oh yeah, so it is. So you can't usually build here unless you've got anarchy, but yeah, you can make it a lot bigger. Now that looks like a hospital you might see in quite a large town or a city. And then if you wanted to pop on an extra bit at the end, you can do as well. And these have some extra bonuses, I'm sure. So extra patient capacity, and this one just costs you more money in your budget, so there's no point in building it. I'm joking, it does add a little bit of capacity, 45 patients, so that might be worth doing if you just needed to bump up your health service in a smaller area. But yeah, fantastic. Well, we don't need these for now. Our medical coverage in Sunny Isle is pretty good. Let's have a quick look at that, spin around and zoom out. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. I think I had a bit of a scare a while ago and just plopped down loads of stuff. And since we've got the medical university and the walk-in centre that we plopped down last time, we've got plenty of coverage, so we don't need to worry about that. All right, I'm going to jump into death care. Okay, so this is something I know is included in this pack, and I am so excited. So we have the cemetery. We'll get to that shortly, but the crematorium is great because the crematoriums that come in the game, the vanilla one, they're good, but they don't look European to me. This makes me think of some sort of American university, New England sorority house or something like that. Doesn't say crematorium, but this new one to me looks like a very typical modern crematorium that you might find in any part of Europe. It's, yeah, super simple. Not simple in design, like it's gonna take a lot of effort and a lot of restraint to design something like this. It's got a beautiful low profile. I love these vertical windows here. I imagine that's where the ceremony takes place, where you have a multi-faith presentation of the funeral or some sort of event. And then a little remembrance garden at the back. That's quite nice. Now let's have a look. Does this have... It does have some upgrades. So we have a covered car park for some extra hearses. Oh, that's nice. And yeah, you can place these on the road or you can place them on the asset. It looks like there is a driveway included in the asset, and that will give you loads and loads of more, new hearses, which is always needed. When those death waves come, it isn't necessarily the fact that you haven't got capacity to handle it. It's usually you don't have enough vehicles to collect everyone. Yes, that's fantastic. Now, do we need it? I'm not sure. Let's have a quick look at our health and death care. Our crematorium availability is pretty crazy. So we don't need to plop that down yet. Let's have a quick look at the cemetery. I'm super excited about this one. So this is a pretty sizable asset, to be honest. Let's just plop it away from the road because I think we're on a little bit of a hill here. But this is lovely, especially for a downtown kind of build. It's very dense. There's no space, there's no leeway between any of these gravestones. So love thy neighbor and all that. You will be spending the rest of eternity very close to them. And I love the textures that they've used through here. You've got some of that forestry texture to kind of give that mossy look. They're using the regular footpaths, so you can connect up your footpaths to this pretty easily. You just snap onto the end probably. Yeah. Does it work with anarchy off? Yeah, it does. That's pretty nice, that. So you could create a really big park around that asset. But I think this is the money shot. Look at this. Look at all these upgrades. Wow. So yeah, there's extra things on here. So you've got the crematorium, which is a beautiful kind of modernist style building. Very interesting. And these all just connect to the little paths, I believe. Yeah, seamless. I think the main thing is you don't want it to be snapping to the side of the owner, and then that should make it a little bit easier, or not. I don't know. Okay, I think you just have to find the right spot and it works. But we've got a hearse garage here, and then we've got all these little modular sections that you can just connect onto each other. You could almost build a little bit of a labyrinth. You could have a lot of fun with this. And I think what's exciting, a curved section. I didn't expect that. Okay, I'm super excited about using this. But yeah, what's good about this is, and it's an issue with Cities Skylines, not just Cities Skylines 2, but with the first game as well. If you don't have access to a lot of assets, say you're playing on Xbox, or your machine can't handle that many custom assets, you could create something with this that is unique to your city. You just need to find the right spot for it. You can shape it to the parcel of land that you've got. And there's so many possibilities with this. Yeah, I'm loving it. This is fantastic. Even if you just want to do simple things like a simple graveyard, like this doesn't need a path connection or anything. That's just brilliant. That's like propping. That's like using Find It to place graveyards or gravestones, but it's vanilla. Wow, I'm absolutely amazed. Okay, I don't think I want to use this just yet because I think this is going to have to be a special use case once we get to it, but I'm very excited. All right, well, let's jump into garbage disposal. Don't think we've got anything there. Okay, schools. Yeah, you can't go without a school in an asset pack, and this looks pretty nice. Looks quite industrial, actually. Very low key. Yeah, it's definitely not ostentatious or anything like that, and it's got some entrances at the back, so you could always have a road on this side or a car park. Does it come with any upgrades? It does. Okay, so you could add on some extra attractiveness with a playground. Oh, this is so cute. Look at this. These little chalk drawings of all these kind of like Dutch iconic things with the trains, the little houses, the canal houses, the windmills, the bikes. Oh, please don't rub it in. But I'm pretty excited that they're talking about bikes now, to be honest. If they have started talking about it. If this is still in the video and it's not edited out, then they must have talked about it. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. Okay, so you can add an extension wing on the back as well. Lovely stuff. And I don't think we need to add any schools to our build just yet, do we? Okay, no. But we could replace one if we think there's a bit of repetitiveness through the city. So this one holds 1,500, and if we just have a quick look at how many that holds, that's 1,000 with the extension wing, so possibly about the same amount. So let's go ahead and remove this. Let's find that school, and it's got a much smaller footprint, and I think this road is getting really busy with that intersection at the back there, so I'm quite interested in potentially moving this asset back off the road, and then if we need to upgrade that road in the future, we can. So let's place down a pedestrian one-way road. We don't really want people driving down here, and we'll just connect it up along this field here. Yeah, that was quite nice, and I think, yeah, we'll get the upgrade on, so we could put this anywhere we like. I think we will just have it alongside and make that side wall a little bit more interesting because it is quite blank. And then, yeah, of course, let's put on the fun drawings. I think that's so nice. And what does that do? That adds on just extra attractiveness within the neighborhood. But it looks like we can add more than one extension wing. Wow, I did not realize that was possible. So you can make this into a much, much larger school. Let's go ahead and see if we can squeeze another one on. I wonder if we were to jiggle this about a little bit, we could get quite creative with this. Okay, so the game just crashed, but I managed to jump back in and put together this asset using the upgrades to create something that looks really interesting. So the main building is at the front here, and I didn't end up having it set back off the road in the end, just because we didn't have that much space. I think there was just enough room, so this is 4 tiles deep, and then we had another 4 tiles that we could use with these extension assets. And so with that, we're able to create what is quite an interesting and modular looking building, and this looks fantastic. With a little bit of better bulldozer, I went through and I deleted a lot of the repeating assets, kept a few of the same things. You know, it's not going to be perfect, and I think this just works without really that much effort, to be honest. Now, we did have pedestrian access issues along the back here, but I simply used an invisible pedestrian path, connected it up, and the whole thing is working without any sort of complaints. And if we have a look at this, we now have capacity for 3,500 students in what was pretty much the same footprint of the original vanilla school, which is fantastic. Now, if you're really struggling to get elementary schools into your city, I think this is the solution that will help you. Okay, with the elementary school sat down there looking pretty, let's have a look at what else we have in the education tab. We'll go to high schools, and this is something that we might actually need to put down today just because we are lacking in capacity. So this is got capacity for 2,500, fantastic. It's an urban high school, and it can be upgraded with a chemistry laboratory. Okay, let's have a look at how big this is. So it's not too big. It looks like a moderately sized office building, and I imagine the extension, the upgrades are on the reverse. Let's have a look. So if we click on that, so we have the extension wing. Yeah, so that sticks out at the back, removes some of that parking, creates a really nice looking corner lot, and then this adds an extra level on the top of the roof. Okay, fantastic. Let's see if there's a good spot to put this. So having a look at our population density through here, we can see we've got 2 or 3 areas of high density or high quantity of people. So we have Mont Clementine. We don't really have any space to construct anything up there, so they're very much reliant on transporting students and goods to the mainland here. But we've got Reuben. They are served mostly with this high school, and we also have a smaller high school next to it, so they're pretty well served. This side may be where we're lacking in Kaplan and in Harbour Market, just where we placed the new elementary school. And they do have a small high school also, but it only has space for 600 students with a couple of the extension wings already added to it. So I think this is the most likely area that we could build this new school. And I'm thinking we might just go across the street from where we were. And we've got all this low density through here. We've even got some empty lots, which I think maybe they were abandoned homes, and at some point in time I must have de-zoned them, but at least, and this is purely by accident, it kind of tells a story of the changing wealth in this area. People can no longer afford to live in buildings like this. Have a look at a few of these. They're wretched wealth. They're wealthy, okay, so they may not want to move. What about these? They're wealthy, they're wretched. So maybe it's a good mix through here. I wonder, is there a way of having a look at people's wealth in the menu here? Household wealth. Yeah, you can see here where the dark green is where we're seeing a lot of low wealth through here. So I think this is an ideal area to construct something new, and I think that high school will be very much appreciated. So I'm going to go ahead and de-zone some of this. Unfortunately, some of these people are wealthy, so they may have cost the city quite a lot of money if they were playing hard to get, and we'll create a little bit of space. I'm going to keep this one house on the corner. I'm going to say that they were super stubborn, but since we've got a public path running through the back here, this piece of land isn't really that useful to the city anyway, just because we won't be able to fit the school in that gap. But what we can do is we can build a giant building next to their house, and maybe one day they might decide to sell up and redevelop. So we'll plop that in there, and I'm going to add the extension wing because I think that's just, even though we don't necessarily need it, it's just such a fantastic feature. I'm going to avoid adding the rooftop chemistry lab. It does add extra health benefits and well-being to the neighborhood, but to be honest, I don't think we need the capacity. And yeah, this is looking good. I like that on this corner here. And with the school beside it, it's starting to feel a little bit more urban, and it kind of fits into the long-term plan of completely redeveloping this area of the town, and this relief road slowly becoming more urbanized since it's a lot slower now. It's only 50 miles per hour. Yeah, I like that. At the back here, we've got a little bit of space that we can add some detail, and I think we could go ahead and maybe add some of those Netherlands homes through here. So we'll just put a few there, and then we've got the gambrel roof. Let's see what that looks like there. So interestingly, these zone in similar to row homes. So they're 1x2. Very interesting, and each of these looks like it has 2 homes in it, although we're only seeing one family, so that's a shame. I would have loved to have seen these have more families living in them, since they visually look like they have more than one family in. That's a shame. We've got a gap here which I think it's worth adding a new road connection, just because we don't have that much connectivity through here. Do we put in an alleyway? Yeah, why not? I think it doesn't need to be anything larger than that. Unfortunately though, I've just noticed that the vehicle entrance to the car park is all the way over here, which is a shame because I really like the way this asset is on a corner here, and we don't have road access to that little section there. They have access at the front here, so there's a road connection there. Okay, I don't need to worry about that. Maybe that is a pedestrian entrance. Let's see if we can make something a little bit more special. Okay, yeah, so I just added some little bike racks, which I thought would suit a Netherlands build. And it's at the back here. This could be a little bicycle entrance. I think that's fantastic. Oh, they're going to so hate living here with all this noise. You know, schools in Cities Skylines 2 do kick off a lot of noise pollution. Look at that, super orange. Okay, yeah, I think that looks good. There's a little empty lot here, and I'm just going to zone some medium density. I think that's always pretty useful. Let's grab some of that NL, or maybe we go for some NL low rent homes, simply because we've got pretty good facilities through here, and we want them to be able to be close to the schools and the services. I quite like the look of that. I think that's okay. And these are very low detailed in terms of architecture style. I mean, they're very well detailed as an asset. Minimalist looking buildings, and I imagine something like this being built in this area. It's quite low rise, but I imagine as it levels up it will get a little bit taller. But I think that looks fantastic through here, and that school on the corner just fits perfectly. I love that so much. Okay, do we have any other educational assets? Let's have a quick look through here. So we have the college auditorium. So this is a 17th century style building which was renovated and now functions for a place for local students to hang out. And this is tiny. So does it have much capacity? 750. How interesting. Let's just plop it down and see what it looks like. Oh yeah, you could turn this into a church or a really old town hall for those kind of European or maybe even New England builds. I do like the look of that. However, do we need any college education? We don't. Look, we've got loads of capacity, which is a crying shame. But once the static ploppable version of this comes out, I'll definitely be using it. Okay, next up we've got the Netherlands University. So this is also a modernist building. We'll plop that down. It's costing us a little bit of money, but I think we can afford it. And that looks, yeah, that looks great. That's, again, it's modernist. It's very sleek looking. I love that shine on the roof. It actually is in a similar style to some of the educational institutes I used to visit, and actually this style is very much in fashion in parts of London. If you've been to the King's Cross development area, I feel like this is something you see quite a lot. And yes, we've got a beautiful clock which is telling the real time. Now does this have, yes, it also has some upgrades. Wow, these guys are not letting us down, can they? Okay, so we've got the auditorium, so that adds a big glass structure at the back. That's quite nice. And then we've got the research library that adds just a little auditorium or encloses that space in the middle just a little bit. Yeah, that's lovely, that. Sadly, again, we don't really need it right now, but I am looking forward to using it. And now, did they treat us to some fire services? Yes, they did. So we have the small fire station. Wow, that looks super cool, super modern. And then we've got something that looks a little bit more old school, maybe 60s, 70s, but yeah, this is nice. And we've got a nice little red door here. I'm guessing that is Dutch for fire brigade or something like that. Very interesting. And then we've got another one over here, and this one does come with some upgrades. We've got some extra vehicle bays, which are just simply added on the back, and a fire helicopter, which is always very useful, especially if you're building a city similar to Sunny Isle where the traffic is always crazy. It's good to have a fire helicopter. Yeah, fantastic. I like the look of those. Again, I don't think we need to use them or replace anything just yet. Actually, I think we could use that modern one down near the border. Yeah, so down here we've got this fire station. This is one of the first ones I built in the city, but it does look a little bit suburban. Whereas this area is all about being more practical, more industrial, and less decorative. So I don't think this really fits the area all that well, to be honest. So let's go ahead and grab that smaller one. And that seems to have not loaded in correctly. Okay, I just had to leave the area briefly and then come back, but yeah, that looks good. Got a couple of the fire bays at the front, and I think, yeah, that suits the area quite nicely. Yeah, fantastic. It's just down near the border. It'll help everybody near the incineration plant in our new neighborhood, the Black Sands, the little village, and the coal power plant. Okay, so we're down by Dome's Beach Bar, which is still looking incredible. One of the first custom-made assets using props from the game back in the day. And we're having a look at the police because I think the folk down at this bar are always up to no good. So we need to make sure that they're policed well. And yes, we're seeing that there is a Netherlands police station. So this is a medium-sized police station, I'd say, with a 45 jail capacity with 8 patrol cars. So actually more on the larger side, medium to large. And this is a pretty asset, I can say that. Wow, look at that. You've even got the signage on the side here. And again, this is all very much mid-century design. So if this isn't your cup of tea, you'll just have to skip this pack. But this is something I think you see in cities all over the world, especially places that saw a lot of development through the mid-19th century, the mid-20th century, sorry. And this is the style of architecture you just simply see. It's very functional, minimalist design, but it isn't ugly either, you know. And let's have a look. We've got some upgrades. So we've got the investigation unit. I do love a little bit of role play in here. So this includes offices for detectives, so it adds 4 extra patrol cars, and it also increases officer well-being. What does that look like? It adds it onto the top. There we go. Oh wow, look, it adds a little patio. No wonder it increases the well-being. And then we have the administration wing, which covers the back, which is really nice. If you wanted to have this as a wraparound asset with a road going all the way around, you can do it. And if I can see that correctly, there's a little bit of an underground garage which is added. Yeah, so that makes sense because you're able to fit in the extra 12 police cars. I'm not sure we can see that from here. Yeah, you can, just a little bit. Alas, I don't think we need this at the moment, but I'm looking forward to using it in the future, and I'm just mixing up all my hotkeys, which you can tell it's getting a little bit late for me. Okay, next up we're going to be looking at public transport. I believe we've got some incredible new assets in here. Let's go to the train menu. Let's click on the Netherlands pack, and we get a brand new train station, which is incredible. This has got 6 train platforms, 7 bus bays, and can it be upgraded? I'm not too sure. Shall we take a look? Let's plop it down here and see what we get. Wow, what a beautiful asset. I am speechless. Look at the size of that thing. That is fantastic. And what's this? We've got bollards in the game now? I'm just going to use the picker. Wow, look at that. We've got red bollards, grey bollards. Okay, excuse the train station for a second. The one thing I've been asking for in the game for such a long time. Incredible. And it looks like there's a few other things here. Some like little posts that you can do some exciting things with. Okay, I'm officially excited. Let's just remove those. And we'll have a closer look at this train station. So it doesn't have any upgrades, but you can add a parking fee, which is always useful. And it can hire up to 60 employees, but you never know, it always may hire more. And yeah, no, it's looking good. It looks like you might be able to recolor it a little bit. We've got a clock on the side here. Beautiful. And is that a prop? Yes. Wow. Okay, that is incredible. Look, we've got an actual clock prop in the game. Oh, and there's another one right there as well. Oh wow, I'm super excited. I'm kind of sad that we can't use this asset right now, not in this build, but I think we might be able to use it somewhere else. This is brilliant. It's got a little underground area here, so I imagine maybe there's pedestrian access. You got these little elevators on the side. Beautiful, absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, this is a pretty good asset for a hot place like Sunny Isle, because it's got these bus bays with shelter. You've got shelter on the platforms, so if you're in a rainy climate or in a hot climate, it kind of works for both. I am majorly impressed. Okay, fantastic. I think that is pretty much everything, right? I might be missing something because, like I said, this has been my first impression, and I didn't want anything to be spoiled. So if I'm missing anything, I'm sure it's been covered by someone else's video. Oh yeah, we've got the post office and the historical post office. Oh, okay, I'm excited again now. Wow. Okay, this is a very Dutch looking asset, I'd say. I wouldn't say this would fit that many builds because this just screams Dutch to me. Okay, I like that. So that's a historical post office. 17 postal vans, very useful. And then we've got this smaller post office, which looks very similar to the parking garage, don't you think? Let's just grab one of those little parking garages. It's very, very similar, which is great because you could have these side by side, and you'd be none the wiser. You wouldn't know that there's anything going on in the back here. Very interesting. I like that. So that was a lot of fun checking out the Netherlands asset pack. Off camera, I placed the windmill out by the Golden Fields farms near Chinatown, where it actually feels right at home in the landscape. And along the river, I swapped out a stretch of older row homes for the new Dutch townhouses, which gives the waterfront a really fresh character without losing the story of the area. It's only a small start, but that's what I like about this pack. You can weave pieces into the city naturally, rather than forcing them in. I'm curious to see what else will find a place here over time. Thanks again for watching, and as always, take care, goodbye.